For those of you who just came in, please say who you are in the chat, put your zip code, something you might be excited to learn about today, just so we can keep track of who you are and, what you want to know. So I'm Caroline Nickerson. I'm on the SciStarter team. We've been doing these events as part of Citizen Science Meets Summer Reading. The theme of summer reading is Imagine Your Story, and these events are supported by public libraries across the country, amazing citizen science projects like Marine Debris Tracker, and the network of the National Library of Medicine All of Us research program. So it's a bunch of people who came together to help put this on for you today. As you come in and as you introduce yourself in the chat, please make sure you select all panelists and attendees, just so everybody can engage in the conversation. Also, please keep in mind that we are streaming this live to YouTube, and we're also going to be posting the recording of this afterward in several different places. So anything you put in the chat, we may read it out loud or share it with the audience. So that's just something to keep in mind for today. So you are in the right place. We are going to learn how we can fight plastic pollution today. And this event is supported by the Glendora Public Library. And it's also supported by Marine Debris Tracker with our guests, Alexis and Kathryn. Alexis is the librarian at the Glendora Public Library, and Kathryn is one of the leaders of the Marine Debris Tracker project. So you have made it in the right place to learn something about fighting plastic pollution today with science. So just to get things kicked off, we're going to do a poll. We want to know, have you ever done a citizen science project before? It's totally okay if you don't even know what citizen science is. We just want to hear from you and have you vote. So please, for those of you who are in the Zoom room with us, please vote. For those of you who might be watching on YouTube, you could chime in the comments. But let us know, have you ever participated in citizen science today? And there are no wrong answers here. If you've never done it before, that's totally fine. You're in the right place. We're going to give you all the tools you need to do it. So we're going to end the poll in just a second here. So go ahead and get those votes in. So 3, 2, 1, and we're going to end the poll. So it looks like the vast majority of folks are unsure about whether or not they've done citizen science before, which is totally fine. We got quite a few no's as well, and 1 yes. So for the person who has done it before, glad you're here. If you want to let us know in the chat what you have done, that'd be really cool. We'd be super interested. But otherwise, I hope that you all get to do Debris Tracker, and then you will be citizen scientists. So our next poll, we just want to know a little bit about you. So are you an aspiring citizen scientist? Are you a parent of an aspiring citizen scientist? Are you a teacher, a troop leader, an educator? Are you a librarian or part of a library staff? Are you a researcher, a project leader? Are you just a bored person on the internet? Or are you none of these? Whatever you identify with, just let us know. We'd love to know about you and why you came to this event today. And if you select none of these, let us know in the chat, what you actually are or who you consider yourself to be. All are welcome at these events, and anybody can be a citizen scientist. So I'll give you just another second to vote here. 3, 2, 1, and we're going to end the poll. So it looks like the majority of folks are bored people on the internet. We're glad you're here. I hope that you become unbored by this event. That's educational and entertaining for you. We also have a few parents in the room, some aspiring citizen scientists, some researchers, librarians and library staff members, and some people who are none of these, which is totally fine as well. By the end of this, you'll be a citizen scientist. So now I'm going to pass the mic to Alexis, who's going to tell us about how Glendora Public Library is always open online. Alexis, take it away.
Thanks, Caroline. Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis. Like Caroline said, I'm a librarian at the Glendora Library. We are super excited to be here today and to really talk about all this with you. And I just want to give a brief shout out. I know that we're not open to the public quite yet, but we are always open online. So you can get ebooks, e-audiobooks, movies, music online with our Overdrive, Hoopla, or Cloud Library apps. And the book that they're talking about today is actually available on Overdrive and Hoopla, so be sure to check it out. We know that people are going to be starting school soon, and it's a little different this year round. So if you need help with any kind of tutoring, if you need help with math, science, history, English, we do have BrainFuse, which is online tutoring with a real person online over chat. It's available 7 days a week from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. And so make sure to take advantage of that if you need a little extra help on your homework. And that's for grades from kindergarten all the way to senior high school, even some college stuff. And then if you want to learn something new or brush up on some skills, go ahead and check out Udemy, which we just got very recently. Udemy has hundreds of online classes that you can learn anything from management training to learning how to do Excel, pretty much kind of almost anything you could think of. They have some kind of training or course for that. So be sure to check it out. All of this stuff costs nothing to you. It's all free with your library card. So as long as you're a citizen of California, you can get a library card for free. So if you need help getting a library card, you can go to glendoralibrary.org. All of these resources are available at glendoralibrary.org. And if you need a library card and you don't know where to go or you need help looking for it, give us a call or email us. And our email and our number are right there. And we're open. Someone is there from 10 to 5 every day, Monday through Friday. Okay.
Thanks, Alexis. And for those of you who aren't in California, please check in with your local public library too. I guarantee you they have some great resources for you. And that being said, I'm really jealous of you Glendora folks because Udemy is awesome and there are so many resources with your library card. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about citizen science. So for those of you who didn't know what it was, I know we had some unsure answers earlier. At SciStarter, we define citizen science really broadly. We define it as a collaboration between scientists and those of us who are curious, concerned, and motivated to make a difference. So it's basically when we work together with scientists to discover something new, to turn our own curiosity into impact. I see people are chiming in on the chat. Let's see what people are saying. Let me pull up the chat here. If I'm having any sound issues, let me know. Part of the virtual world we're living in is sometimes the internet doesn't work perfectly, but I'm glad we're still able to come together and connect regardless. So at this point in the program, we always encourage folks to go to SciStarter.org/NLM. We really want you to make a SciStarter account because this is kind of like your passport to citizen science. At SciStarter, we have citizen science opportunities for you to discover. Folks like Kathryn are able to add their project to SciStarter, and volunteers like you are able to go to SciStarter to search different projects that align with your interests, your curiosity, your lifestyle, and then you're able to get involved with them based on those search criteria. So on SciStarter, we have this thing called the Project Finder, where you can search projects I can do on a hike, or projects that are really good for a 6th grader if you want to do a project with your kids, for example. And at the SciStarter.org/NLM page, which I hope you all are going to right now, you're able to find projects that are featured in library programs all over the world. So you're able to find the debris tracker project, which is the featured project today, on the SciStarter.org/NLM page. So please go there, make your SciStarter account, and start discovering some new projects. Also on this page is the Introduction to Citizen Science tutorial we made just for you, and we just made it bilingual. This was made with support from the network of the National Library of Medicine, and this basically gives you the what, the how, the who, and the why of citizen science. So with this tutorial, it takes about 30 minutes to click through it. You get a certificate at the end. We wrote it so it would be applicable to all different age levels, 5th grade on up. So no matter who you are or how old you are, we hope this tutorial is helpful for you and getting you kind of acclimated to the citizen science world. And it's offered in English and in Spanish on that SciStarter.org/NLM page. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, we're going to pass the mic to Kathryn, who's going to tell you about the debris tracker project. Kathryn, take it away.
All right, thanks, Caroline. I'm glad to be here tonight, and a big thank you to the Glendora Public Library for allowing me to share Debris Tracker with you all tonight. And thank you all for attending and for being here. So Marine Debris Tracker is an app that was originally created in partnership with NOAA and the University of Georgia. And we're now grateful to be powered by Morgan Stanley. So we're a citizen science project that we have data collected all over the world, and it's super easy to use. And our goal is to collect really good scientific data on litter that's found in communities all over the world. So could you flip to the next slide? Yeah, so this is our current map. I had pulled this a couple weeks ago, and this is just a screenshot of what our map on our website looks like. So you can see we have people all across the country who are collecting data, and the app is not just for collecting data on the coast. So we're really interested in understanding where plastic pollution is coming from, and a lot of times that means it starts upstream in our communities. So we want to, wherever you are in the world, whether you're in California or a more landlocked state, we'd love to have you track data and contribute to the citizen science project. Next slide. So I don't have a lot of time here tonight, so I'm going to refer you to you guys some awesome resources we have on our website that'll walk you through a really detailed tutorial to get you started. So this is our Getting Started guide that's available on our website. Flip to the next one. And basically, this guide gives you a slide-by-slide screenshot of exactly what to do when you're starting tracking. But I'll give you the quick rundown now. So the basic idea is once you've downloaded the app on your phone, all you have to do is click Start Tracking, and then you'll see a selection of different projects. We have people all over the world who are tracking, and so therefore we need lists that are customized to different languages and to different litter types seen in different environments around the world. But the NOAA list, it's at the very top, highlighted in big bold letters. And so that's the list that we recommend most people in North America will find the most useful. It's the most kind of common accepted methodology for tracking litter. So you can click on that list and then click use this list, and it will take you to a screen with a bunch of different litter items. And you can jump between the different categories of litter items and find what you're seeing in your community. And every time you hit the add button, it'll add a number to your little trash can. You can change the number, move it up or down. You can also add a description if you want to include any special details about the item that you're seeing. And then once you click add, it'll add it to your trash can and you'll increase your litter count. And then once you are done with that, you'll submit it and upload it to our database, which I showed you that map earlier. That's all of our data from around the world. Next slide. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we do have a lot of litter tracked. So far, it's over 2.5 million items in 90 different countries, which is really exciting. But we're definitely still continuing to grow, and definitely plastic pollution is a really big problem, and it's a problem all over the world. And so we need the data to match the scale of the problem. So there's no such thing as too much data in this space, and we definitely still want people to contribute and still need those regular contributions to be able to understand the problem and therefore to be able to move towards making solutions together. Next slide. Yeah, so I wanted to give you guys a case study of where we've used Debris Tracker in our research at the University of Georgia. So this was a project we did last year with National Geographic, where we traveled along the Ganges River in Bangladesh and India and collected litter data in 10 different communities along the river. You can see over to the left-hand side that some of the top items found there. And some of them are probably similar to top items found in your own communities, tobacco products, food wrappers, and lots of plastic fragments. So this is an app that's used regularly in science and something we use in our own research. So we're definitely practicing what we preach here, in that we really believe that getting people to collect data and collecting this litter data is really important to moving towards solutions to plastic pollution. Next slide. And we had quite a few teachers on the call, so I wanted to highlight this. The natgeo.org/debris tracker is our website we created with Nat Geo that has a lot of the resources that we made for the expedition when we ran education programs in schools in India and Bangladesh. So we've translated those and made them available in English on the Nat Geo website. So there's a general guide to debris tracker, and then there's also a plastic pollution action journal for students that kind of walks students through the process of thinking about plastic pollution and thinking about litter like scientists, asking questions about what kind of plastic they use in their own lives, what kind of litter they're seeing in their community, and what they can do about that. It also, I saw a question in the chat, so I'll highlight this as well. That Plastic Pollution Action Journal also includes a paper data card that relates to the debris tracker app. So you can, if you're tracking with really young kids, they can collect data on that paper data card, and then you can upload it on your app on your phone. So I wanted to highlight that as well for the teachers in the group. So that's my really quick overview of Debris Tracker, but I'm excited to hear from you all and get your questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathryn. So now Alexis is going to interview you about Debris Tracker, and because the theme of summer reading is Imagine Your Story, I know that we have a few questions queued up about kind of the story of Debris Tracker and about the work you do. So Alexis, take it away.
Thank you. So Kathryn, that was so great. And I just want to say I downloaded the app and it is so easy to use. It's straightforward. I love it. I think if you plan to go out and look for plastic pollution, it's great. If you're just casually walking around, not planning, it's great too. So I just want to say it's wonderful. But kind of what Caroline said, I want to know what strategies have you used to tell the story of Debris Tracker?
Yeah, so I think plastic pollution is something that tends to feel really far off to us here in the US. It tends to feel like something that's really far away. And I think Debris Tracker is a great way to kind of tell the story of how plastic pollution is a problem in our own communities. I think that data is a really powerful story. I'm a big believer that there are stories in data, and I think that the data that Debris Tracker collects when you're pressing those buttons and adding different litter items to your map, you're creating an actual like geospatial data point on what litter item was there at that time that you were there. And that's really cool data for scientists to be able to take a look at, but also for regular people. So all of our data is open access, and it all goes to our website, and you can get on that website as well and play around with the data and see what kind of other litter items have been logged in your community and other communities around the world. We're actually working on a website update that'll be out really soon that'll make that even easier. So I think, you know, there's a really cool story in that data of what plastic pollution is in our community, and then I think taking that to the next step of what we can do to change that.
Yeah, I see people in the chat are saying that they go and do weekly cleanups and stuff, and that's a great way to do it too. You get to clean up your community and then be able to help out and provide some data for everyone too.
Yeah, I think if you're already doing cleanups, definitely recommend tracking your data, even if it's just for you, because it's really cool to be able to see how that impact adds up when you're continually doing that over multiple weeks. In our new website update that's coming very soon, we'll have kind of a personalized landing page where you'll be able to see how many cleanups you've done and how many items you've collected. But even right now with our current website, you can go and download a spreadsheet of your own data and see what you've collected, which is really cool.
Oh, that's really cool. So can you tell us about some of the citizen scientists that have participated in your project, and what is your community like?
Sure, we have a really big variety, which I think is really cool. Like I said, plastic pollution is a global problem, and we've really tried to build a global community around this issue, a global community of people who are collecting data on this problem. But I'll highlight a couple examples. One that is relevant to you guys out there in California is we worked with a program called EcoBlitz, which was a group run by a group of National Geographic educators. And so they had classrooms collect data. I think it was a couple thousand students participate. And so they had them do a BioBlitz, where they used iNaturalist, another citizen science app, to collect data on the species of animals and plants they were seeing, and track with Debris Tracker to look at the litter they were seeing and compare those at the same time, which was a really cool example. We've also had people here where I'm based in Georgia. We have a big group on the coast with the Georgia Sea Turtle Center. So there's a lot of people who just on their morning walks on the beach collect a ton of data, and they were one of our first adopters. So now we have kind of 10 years of data of how litter has changed on Jekyll Island. So we have a really big range of people who are collecting.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how this small impact can turn into such a huge impact, really, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Really cool. What's something about Debris Tracker that has surprised you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I kind of said this a minute ago, but I am surprised by the variety of people who are willing to kind of get their hands dirty and get out and pick up litter. I think it's such a good way to feel like you're making a difference. It's very visual and visceral to be able to just pick something up and know that it's not going to end up in the water system or in the ocean. And we've just had response from all over the world. We have lists in 10 different languages now because we have people tracking all over, and it's been really cool. Particularly in India, it was really fun to get kids out collecting litter and just see how much fun they had with it. I think on the research side of things, you kind of get bogged down in the big numbers of how big the problem is, but I think there's just a lot of energy to solve this problem, and a lot of energy to contribute where you can.
What would you tell someone who wants to participate in Debris Tracker but might be a little nervous about getting started?
We've tried to make it as easy as possible, so you really can't mess it up. And if you do mess it up, you can just delete all your data and start over. It's really, we've tried to make it very self-explanatory. So whatever item you're seeing, you just have to click the add button and you're giving data to science. So literally with 3 clicks of a start button, an add data button, and a submitting it to our database button, you can be contributing to science. So we've tried to really make it easy. I'd also say that, because we have a lot of different people who are tracking for a lot of different goals, we don't have like a prescribed methodology that we give to people. But I really recommend thinking about that before you start your own kind of citizen science debris tracker project. It really can be as simple as just collecting data along your walk in your neighborhood that you already do. Or if you want to, to collect your own observations that are more scientific, you can create a method to do that. So you could say time yourself for 20 minutes and see how much litter you can find in that time period. You could, block off an area of a certain amount and track in that area every week and see what changes over time. I think to give ourselves these scientific questions and kind of answer them on a small scale can be really interesting. And then for us, it's really great data to have, and especially that data that kind of continues over time. If you're continuing to track, that's really exciting data.
And the last question I have for you is, what is something that you wished everyone knew about citizen science?
That's a good question. I think our goal with citizen science is really to empower people. And I think that I wish everybody knew that, their contribution really does matter. I think plastic pollution is one of those problems that we all know that we contribute to, but in a way that's empowering because we all also have the power to make change there. And so, yeah, your data does matter and it is important. And when you contribute to these projects, there are scientists like me and my research team, and we're grateful to get that data and excited to see it coming from citizen science like you guys. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Kathryn.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you, Alexis, for all those amazing questions. We have a few more minutes for questions. So I'm wondering, Alexis, do you see any other ones in the chat? And while you look for those, I have a quick question for Kathryn. So Kathryn, the theme of summer reading is Imagine Your Story. So could you tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are as a researcher working with Debris Tracker?
Sure, yeah. So I am an environmental engineer by major. That's what I studied in college. And after I graduated, I went and worked in kind of a more traditional engineering consulting firm. And then the professor that I currently work for, Dr. Jenna Jambeck, asked me to come back and work for her as part of this National Geographic expedition. And that was super exciting. So obviously I jumped on that opportunity. I'd actually worked for her kind of all throughout my college career as an undergrad. I was really interested in plastic pollution kind of because of what I just said, because I felt like it was an environmental issue that was very ripe for solutions, was such an area where there's so much potential for all of us to make change and so much potential for lots of different solutions. And that was really, really exciting to me. I'm also a scuba diver, so I love the ocean and I really do want to protect it. It's something that's really important to me, and it's something where I've seen the impacts of plastic pollution in the wild. So yeah, it's really just something that's been, it's an issue I feel very close to and feel very passionate about.
Thanks, Kathryn. It looks like we do have one question. Have you seen any behavior changes toward plastic or trash mentioned from any of your debris trackers?
Ooh, that's a good question. So we don't really collect that data. And as I kind of mentioned, we provide a platform for people to kind of run these projects, however small or large they may be, but we don't necessarily get a lot of feedback on kind of what they're doing all the time. We try to check in. So I don't know that I can say that I've seen, I've had like reports of behavior changes necessarily, but I will say that for me personally, I think once you start tracking litter, it's hard to look at plastic the same way. Once you kind of get out in the field and start realizing how, I mean, it's everywhere. It's really, really hard to avoid. Even in areas that you initially think are clean, once you kind of start walking along and really looking for litter, there's almost always something to find. And I think that really can change your relationship with how you look at plastic on a day-to-day basis.
And so another question we have is, do we have access to the data from other parts of the world or only the data we contribute? I'm wondering how kids who are distance learning might be able to contribute to a larger group like our school.
Sure, yeah, so we do have, so our data is all open data, so you can download any of it. Right now it's a little bit difficult to download all of it because it's broken up into different lists based on the different project lists. But in that new website update that I mentioned, we're going to work on aggregating that so it's a little bit easier for kids to kind of explore all of that data together. However, for groups like schools, what I recommend doing is creating a classroom account for Debris Tracker and then sharing that username and password with all the kids in that class. You can you can get the data from that classroom and compare that to other classrooms in your school if it's a broader effort. Yeah, so that's one way to do that and be able to kind of share that data. But yes, all the data is open data, so any of it is accessible on our website online.
I think this is a great question. How do you get kids to stop throwing trash around?
That is a good question, but I will say that I think a lot of kids are pretty environmentally aware about this kind of stuff. You'd be surprised by how much when we do these kind of things at schools, they go home and tell their parents to, you know, stop throwing their cigarette butts out of their car and stuff. So I think kids are really a great way to kind of change the littering habits that still exist in our culture. And I do think that getting them out and tracking litter after, you know, kind of explaining that why plastic pollution is bad in our environment and the negative impacts, and then you know, being able to show them that exists right in their own backyard. It's not something that's just far away other countries. It's not something that's just in the ocean. It's wherever you are in your own neighborhood, there's litter on your street.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Alexis, do you see any other, while you look for other questions, I have another one for Kathryn. So we always hear about plastic pollution and plastic being bad. Are there any good uses of plastics? Like in a perfect world, how would we as a society use plastic?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, we're definitely not anti-plastic. I'm definitely not anti-plastic. I think that that plastic is really a miracle material. That is why it's so widely used. It's incredibly durable and incredibly cheap. And those are the reasons that make it really good for a lot of uses, but they're also the reasons that we see it littered so much in our environment. It's the catch-22 of, because it's super durable and super affordable, it's widespread, and those are the same reasons that we see it ending up in the environment and making impacts on wildlife and on ecosystems. However, I do think plastic has a role in more long-term uses, things that aren't going to be immediately disposed of. I think the consensus among most people who work on this issue is that really the focal point of where we need change is on those single-use plastics. And obviously there's been, kind of some pushback against that in this current time of coronavirus, but I still think that overall moving away from single-use stuff, from stuff that we're using that takes a lot of energy, a lot of environmental impact to produce and dispose of, that we're only using for a couple minutes and then throwing away. That is really kind of the kind of plastic that has the target on its back right now, and that is an area that's really ripe for change.
And actually, I have another question. I have too many questions, so Alexis, feel free to interrupt me at any point. But another one is, so people send in their data, and then Debris Tracker and all the other partner organizations like the NOAA list, for example, are able to draw conclusions from that data. What's the next step after that, after you kind of make sense of the data?
Sure, yeah. So our goal right now is to get enough data that we can do a macro analysis on all of this data. So we've used a lot. We've been able to publish some stuff from kind of individual studies that have used the app in specific areas, but right now we don't have enough data to kind of look at this issue globally or even just nationally here in the US. So that's really kind of what we're working towards, and why we want people like you guys to be tracking, is because we're trying to build a big enough data set that we can say what are the problem items here in the US that are ending up on the ground, and what, how widespread is that? What are there specific areas we should be focusing on more than others? We want that data to inform that next step. So we'll see what that is. We don't know yet, but I would imagine it looks something like us taking this data back to individual communities and sharing with them kind of what the problems are in that community and what items could be targeted for educational campaigns or material changes or policy, those kind of projects. But I see this comment in the chat that I think is a great point. We have had some individual groups that have kind of done this on their own without us. Like I said, Debris Tracker is really a tool that we've built to do this. So we've had individual groups who've taken this back to their local governments or local businesses and saying, hey, we're seeing a lot of this kind of litter from your business or from this school, from this area, ending up in the environment, and inspiring change locally, which I think is really powerful. I think more than a university coming in and doing this assessment, having people on the ground who are from that community saying, hey, I collected this data and this is what I saw, and here are my ideas on how we could change this. I think that that's super powerful.
That's awesome. And Alexis, I think we have time for probably 3 more questions. Do you see any other ones in the chat?
I do see one. Can you set your own project up in Debris Tracker like you can in a Naturalist? Sorry.
I think it's iNaturalist.
iNaturalist.
Yeah, so I'm not super familiar with how the project settings work in iNaturalist, but for Debris Tracker, we have a couple different options. So for bigger organizations that kind of need customized lists, and by bigger, I don't necessarily mean bigger in terms of number of people, but if you're going to have people regularly tracking, if it's not just a one-time event, if it's sort of a reoccurring thing, we will set up like specific project lists for them, which is what you'll see when you open up the app. You'll see kind of a list of all of our different lists. So those are customized litter items. So we have a lot of nonprofits, some research organizations, organizations like NOAA, where we have those customized lists for them. For kind of individuals and groups that are looking to kind of create a project, what I would recommend again is creating a username and password for that project. So creating a account for that project, and then you can share that among several people and have them track. So there's no limit to the number of people that can track under the same username and password. So you can kind of build your own little community of trackers for that project. Unless it's something bigger, in which case you can feel free to get in touch with me. I'll drop our website URL and my email in the chat box if you need to get in touch.
I have a question. So do you think as, things start, changing and do you think you see a growth in citizen science happening to help other projects and kind of seeing it grow just from here?
Yeah, I think that citizen science gets kind of addicting for people who start using it, which is why SciStarter is so great. I think that Debris Tracker is an easier project. It's not, we've designed it to be easy because we need a lot of data to really understand the scale of plastic pollution. So we've designed it to be something that anybody can do. It is hard when you get out and start collecting data, especially in areas that have a lot of litter, but we've designed the barriers to entry are really low. We've tried to make them really low, but there are a lot of other projects that are kind of more intensive, I guess, in terms of kind of the skills you have to have and the data, the kind of data that you have to collect and how regular you have to be about it. Debris Tracker is a lot more flexible than that, but I think we're kind of a good gateway project to begin exploring other citizen science worlds, which SciStarter is a great resource to do that with.
And quick plug, if you go to that SciStarter.org/NLM page we mentioned earlier, and we'll have it again at the end of the presentation, you'll find Debris Tracker, which we want you all to download on your phones and do today. But you'll also find projects like Globe at Night that address astronomy, and projects like Eterna, where you're able to help design vaccines by playing an online game. So citizen science is super diverse. And if you use the same email for your SciStarter account and your accounts on these other websites for the projects that are SciStarter affiliates, which all the projects on the SciStarter.org/NLM page are affiliates, you're able to see the number and frequency of your contributions to these different projects in your SciStarter dashboard. So let's say you do a bunch of citizen science and at the end of the year, you go back to your dashboard, you could see your impact across all these different projects. So you can really make a difference in all these different fields of science. Alexis, do you have a last question?
I see another question in the chat. I think I can answer real quick.
Can you measure the trash and not pick it up?
Yeah, so we definitely really encourage people to pick it up if you're comfortable doing that and if it's safe. So definitely recommend now with coronavirus, especially taking extra precautions there. The little litter grabbers are great. You can buy them on Amazon. They're not super expensive. I think maybe $10 or so. You can also just use gloves to pick up litter, but so definitely be careful if you're going to pick it up. We do like for people to pick up litter. We would love to see that happen. I think generally we all agree that's a good thing. However, if there are safety concerns or if you're tracking a lot of litter and you're just not able to pick it up while you're measuring it, that's also understandable. The app doesn't record whether or not you picked it up. It just records what was there at the time that you were tracking. So yes, but not if you can help it.
Ooh, and I thought of another quick question before we move on. Are there any common mistakes that people make when they participate in Debris Tracker that we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is probably not a mistake that people make necessarily, but one of the most common errors you'll get is that something's wrong with your GPS, that either the signal is old or you don't have very good GPS accuracy. And so we are, as not a native app made by Apple or Google, we don't have quite the resources to get your phone to kind of re-ping your GPS the way that your Maps app is. So I recommend, and whenever I'm tracking, I always keep the Maps app running in the background so that I can make sure my phone knows where in the world I am. And that it's recording accurately. So I definitely recommend that if you can keep your Maps app open in the background. And also if you get one of those GPS errors, if you go to your Maps app and refresh your location, that should fix it. So.
I do see one more question here. Have you added face masks or gloves to debris tracker yet?
We have on our list, on our University of Georgia list, but I don't think we have added it on the NOAA list because it hasn't been added on the NOAA protocols yet, but definitely agree that that's something that's showing up in the litter. So I'll get in touch with NOAA and see if we can add on their list. But it's their protocol list, so I'll have to get an okay from them to add that. But that's a good suggestion. I will work on that.
I love it. Thank you so much to Alexis and Kathryn.
Thanks.
Next up, we have our friends from the All of Us Research Program.
Thank you for inviting me to speak today about the All of Us Research Program. My name is Maria Peralta. I'm an internal medicine physician and assistant professor at the Department of Medicine for the University of California in Irvine. I'm also one of the co-investigators of the All of Us Research Program at UCI. The mission of the All of Us Research Program is to accelerate health research and medical breakthroughs, enabling individualized prevention, treatment, and care of all patients, of all of us. The goal of this program is to help researchers and physicians understand more about why people get sick or stay healthy. By looking for patterns, researchers may learn more about what affects people's health. The All of Us Research Program aims to build one of the largest, if not the largest, most diverse data sets of its kind for health research. With 1 million or more volunteers nationwide who will be able to share their information over time. The goal of the All of Us Research study, partnered with the National Library of Medicine, is to increase the capacity of public library and community-based organization staff to improve health literacy, digital literacy, and participation in scientific research, including citizen science. The National Library of Medicine and all of us have prioritized citizen science as a focus for engagement activities with and through libraries and other community-based organizations. Next slide, please. So if you're new to this idea of precision medicine, it's one way that researchers are looking to advance the ability to serve the public health needs of all people, of all my patients. All of Us is a precision medicine study, part of the Precision Medicine Initiative from 2016. But what does that really mean? What is precision medicine? It's a new way of looking at health treatment and prevention as being designed for the individual. Doctors could take into account a person's lifestyle, environment, and biological makeup to figure out the best treatment for the individual. Next slide, please. The cool thing that we already know is that we already use precision medicine in some ways. So for example, eyeglass prescriptions. Optometrists, eye doctors can tell us exactly what lenses work best for us. But when it comes to visiting your PCP, your regular doctor, a specialist, they may be more likely to prescribe a treatment or prevention that works well for most people, but not necessarily you. Well, we aren't most people, are we? So when a lot of people pitch in to help with this type of research program and we build this national database, we can eliminate the one-size-fits-all medicine type of medicine that we use today. Next slide, please. Through our All of Us research program, our mission is simple but bold. Our mission is to aid in medical breakthroughs that will change how we manage disease prevention and treatment for each individual patient. Academic medical centers like UC Irvine Medical Center are critical in meeting these objectives. Our program is ambitious. We plan to enroll 1 million or more volunteers who will give their health data over at least a decade, we hope. It's not simply enough to enroll participants. At All of Us, we want to engage our participants to develop and nurture partnerships with all individuals, sick or healthy. Unlike other research studies that focus on one population or one disease process, Our mission is serving as a national research resource that would aid in thousands of research projects throughout the years. These data would be accessible for all researchers. We want to foster a new way of doing research through researchers and providers, a platform on which to collaborate. All of Us is building the largest biomedical database resource of its kind by collecting not only health data, but also biospecimens. Crowdsourcing and citizen science is an NLM and NIH priority topic for engagement and outreach. Through citizen science and crowdsourcing, NLM hopes to engage communities in addressing societal needs and accelerating biomedical science, technology, and innovations. We begin this work with our partnership at SciStarter to create an online tutorial, provide opportunities to engage citizen science activities in and through libraries, as well as choosing curated citizen science projects that align with our All of Us engagement priority areas. Collaborations between communities and researchers builds capacity to address problems and meet research goals. Community participation in the research process also builds trust between NLM and the communities that we serve. NLM is committed to increasing access to citizen science resources and to diverse populations in and through libraries and community organizations. Next slide, please. One of the great parts about All of Us, about this research project, is that anyone in the US can participate as long as you're over 18. Taking research to the community is the best part of this. The All of Us California Consortium does just that. You can actually get started by visiting our website at joinallofus.org. And if you join, you can complete surveys, let the researchers get started by including you in the National Research Program. In addition to the University of California and Irvine, members of the All of Us Research California Consortium include UC Davis, UC San Diego, UC San Francisco, USC, Cedars, San Diego Blood Bank, and El Centro Regional Medical Center. Next slide. And here is the website if anybody is interested.
Thank you, Maria. And before we move on to our next section, Maria, I know that you have a connection with Glendora. Do you want to quickly tell the audience about that?
Yes, I graduated from up the hill from St. Lucy's Priory High School, so 2000. So it's good to be back home.
Yay, Glendora.
I thought, yeah, so for all of you listening, you know, if you're in Glendora or if you're somewhere else, you can go joinallofus.org/NLM and get involved. So thank you so much to Maria. And we're glad to have you, welcome you home virtually.
Thank you.
So now, great. Now we're going to pass the mic back to Alexis, who's going to talk to us about how we can stay involved with the library.
Thank you. So our summer reading challenge ended this last month, July 25th, but we still have stuff going on. Like I said, we're always open online, and we still have some fun events going on too. Fun virtual events, I should say. So every day, Monday through Friday, we have our Harry Potter meetup where we read a chapter of the book. We are on the Goblet of Fire right now, and it's getting real good. We're getting towards the end, so you're gonna wanna join in on that. So it's every Monday through Friday, every day at 3 p.m. via Zoom. And Friday, August 21st, we have our Narwhal and Jelly book party. We're gonna have some crafts, we're gonna have some narwhal facts. It's gonna be a fun time, and that's again at 3 p.m. via Zoom. And then Novel Idea is actually for adults. It's our adult volunteer run book club, and they're meeting via Zoom August 26th at 5:30. And the book there is The Last Blue by Alan Morley. So be sure if you want to read the book. And you can see there that even though we're closed, we have library to go. So you can always give us a call or email us, tell us what items you're interested in checking out, and then we'll set up a time for you to come and pick them up. So don't worry, you can still get your books, DVDs, CDs, anything that you need. Battle of the Books is our annual event. and we're still doing it. We're still going strong with Battle of the Books. The books are available, so it's for teams of 3. The registration form is available online. If you do sign up with your team, then you each get copies of the book so that you can all work on the book. And that starts September 21st, and that's via Zoom too. And if you have any questions, always feel free to call us or go to our website, glendoralibrary.org.
Yeah, and we also have a special announcement. So Debris Tracker was featured in the Field Guide to Citizen Science, which was a book written by the co-founder of SciStarter. And we checked with Alexis, and apparently it's available on Overdrive, so you can access it through the library's e-reading resources.
Yes, it's available on Overdrive. It's also always available on Hoopla. So if someone checked it out on Overdrive, don't worry, you can go ahead and check it out on Hoopla. And we also have it as a physical copy. So I know some people love to still get that book in their hands. So feel free to give us a call and pick it up to check it out. It's an awesome book, so I would definitely recommend it.
Woo, yeah. And it's has a lot of other featured projects in there too. And as you're going through that SciStarter.org/NLM page, you'll recognize some of the projects in that book, including Debris Tracker. So just as a reminder, our big call to action from this event, we want you to do Debris Tracker, and we want you to discover it through SciStarter.org/NLM. And we also want you to participate in All of Us and to learn more about the All of Us research program. And you can do both of those things on SciStarter.org/NLM. So please head over there, do the Debris Tracker project, click through the Intro to Citizen Science tutorial. And also, we have a number of other summer reading events partnering with other awesome libraries in California and all over the country. So you can discover those other events and RSVP to them and join us again on Zoom or via YouTube Live at SciStarter.org/NLM. And our final ask of you for today is we really want you to do a survey and let us know how we did. So if one of my colleagues, maybe Robin, could drop it in the chat, that'd be awesome. But otherwise, you can type in tinyurl.com/summer-reading-6 participants. And it's case sensitive, so make sure you capitalize the S, the R, the 6. Well, you can't capitalize number, and capitalize the P. And just let us know what you thought, if you had any barriers to participating, anything you think we could do to help serve you better. We are all ears and we are ready to improve. So without, I guess in closing, I just want to quickly, as you all, start doing that survey, I want to thank both Alexis and Kathryn for such an amazing event, as well as Maria for telling us about the All of Us research program. Any closing thoughts for our panelists before we go? And if you have any last minute questions, now is the time to put those in the chat. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of open up to the panel and let us know if you have any other final thoughts. And let me know. I'm going to be monitoring that chat. So if anybody has anything in there, now is the time. Alexis, I noticed that in the picture you had with Kathryn, were you at the Harry Potter event? I think I saw a wand in there.
Yeah, that was our Harry Potter trivia last summer. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I'm House Ravenclaw, so I was wearing my Ravenclaw sweater.
That's why you like citizen science so much. You're a Ravenclaw.
Yeah, I love citizen science. It's great.
Yes, for Ravenclaws, unite, just do citizen science together. It's for all the other houses too. I'm personally a Slytherin, and I still like citizen science. So
each house can do citizen science in their own way.
I love it. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you again to Alexis, Kathryn, and Maria.
Thank you very much. This was awesome.
Thank you for hosting. This was great. And thank everybody for attending.
Great. See you all at the next event. Bye, everybody.